Are we live? Okay.
Yes, just went live.
Okay, Bruce. So
are we good to go?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I've not done this before.
On behalf of JSSS ISKCON Seshadipuram, we welcome you, Antardwip Prabhu. Thank you for taking some time out. And I know you are a busy man in Mayapur, but I think your time in London is helping us. So thank you for that. So for devotees, those of you who are joining us and who will be joining us in a few minutes. So Antardwip Prabhu is the Mayapur TV man. Kind of him that we get to see the Mangalaratis, all the things, whatever comes from Mayapur. So I'm very, very indebted to him. And he's a very senior god brother of ours. So when I requested him, when I was in Mayapur, he very kindly accepted, saying that, okay, so we are waiting to hear nectar from him on his interactions with Guru Maharaj, and also specific to Mayapur TV. So all yours, Prabhu. Maybe if possible, if you can give some time for question answer around after 40-50 minutes. After 50 minutes, that will be nice, Prabhu. So devotees will just trickle in. Thank you and welcome again.
Thank you very much, Anandi Jagannath Prabhu. Because I thought you'd be in a small temple. I'd only have a few people to talk to. I'm very happy. One of them's my wife. Another is one of our best friends. And I think I know everybody here. So this is great. His Holiness Jagtaka Maharaj is a eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya, and a very, very interesting ISKCON leader. Somebody once said, you know, there's ISKCON leaders you find very inspiring. Is my voice loud enough, by the way?
Yes, Prabhu. Loud and clear, Prabhu.
All right. So there's ISKCON leaders you find very inspiring. ISKCON leaders you find inspiring. ISKCON leaders you don't know so well. But all of the different leaders attract different types of people to them that can relate to them and think, oh, this is a person high up in ISKCON I can relate to. So I think I can commit myself to devotional service and Srila Prabhupada like that. And so we've got a variety of them. And His Holiness Jagtaka Swami, I'd say, is a very approachable and very unassuming leader of ISKCON. And that's a very special quality for a lot of us who are attracted to personalities like Guru Maharaj. His very unique personality is very, very unassuming. So I've got a few stories of my interactions with Guru Maharaj, and there's sort of in these interactions, this sort of his nature does come across. So I first met him in it would have been about 1975 in Mayapur, before one of the festivals, or it might have been 1976, but I can't really remember. And it was before one of the big Mayapur festivals, and about 3 or 4 months before. And I'd been on a sort of a tour. I went on my world tour after university to try to find out the meaning of life. And that tour had taken me, of course, to, I'd been to Tibet, and I joined the South Korean mountaineering expedition, and was thinking I'd cross into China to see Tibet, but I didn't. I managed to just get to Nepal. Then I came back and I was thinking, well, I'm not able to find God. I suppose God's going to have to find me. And at that point, I sort of gave up. I thought, well, he might as well find me in England where I come from. So I'll go back to England, just get myself a humble job and see if opportunity knocks. And at that time I was in Bombay, and a devotee was in the station and asked me to get him some fruit. And I thought, this is a really crazy sort of guy dressed like that. But I'll get him some fruit because he's someone to chat to. So I got this shaved up devotee who's called Satyanarayan Das, an amazing BBT devotee, and who recently got the Chinese government to approve the inclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam in Chinese in their libraries, translated by Srila Prabhu. Oh, good. That better not be on the recording. Okay. And so Satyanarayan Prabhu was told me, we've got this wonderful place in Mayapur. And I thought, oh, these guys are very sort of, are not that bright. If I go and stay there, I can extend my holiday at their expense. So I was very interested. And so I thought, he described it to me, and I envisioned this beautiful land with waterfalls and mountains and all sorts of natural beauty and jungle and forest. So I headed off from Mayapur and landed in Calcutta, where I met His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, one of the first people I met. And at that time, he was just Jayapataka Maharaj, but very much in charge of the whole place. And I said I was on my way to Mayapur. So the next day, I got a lift with him in the Jeep to go to Mayapur for the first time. And everybody had told me, although I thought I would get my freebie holiday from these strange looking people, in the back of my mind was also the thought, well, maybe there is something special about it. So I made sure I didn't, someone told me, oh, this prasadam is very wonderful, you have to have some. So I thought, I better not, I'm going to Mayapur, I should have my first prasad in Mayapur. So, although I did take some Maha water while I was there. And then we got in the Jeep to Mayapur, and there was a lady called Shravanananda Prabhu who was, is he still with us? I don't know, but Baba Bhuti, who worked with Baba Bhuti, is one of the pioneers of Sankirtan in book distribution in Mayapur, in West Bengal. And he would get these vans made for book distribution, and they would go traveling in them. So Shravanananda Prabhu was in the car, and I think Baba Bhuti was there, and they were playing a game of let's get the Mayapur dogs. And this game entailed getting the driver of the Jeep to speed up. And while they were going through the Mayapur streets, they would swing open the doors and try and get a dog. So I hope this isn't recorded either. And I'm sure, but here I was on my first trip to the Holy Land of Mayapur, looking for spiritual life in a Jeep with people trying to knock over dogs. But I think it was Jayapataka Maharaj kindly told me that, don't worry, they never get anyone, the dogs are too fast. And sure enough, no dogs got killed. But I'll never forget my first introduction to devotee behavior. And it hasn't changed since. So anyway, so that's why I stayed. It's fun. And no dogs get killed, which is good. So we were in Calcutta, in Mayapur with Guru Maharaj, and I got a place to stay. I remember he always kept a bit of an eye on me. I would disappear off to Navadvip because I was still a tourist, and the Navadvip people they're very friendly, the lads there. The Navadvip people would just make friends with me, and I'd go over to Navadvip and just mess around and have cups of tea and things like that. And one time, Guru Maharaj, he said to me, "Oh, you know they, what did he say? It was something, it was like, well, you do know they sometimes put something in the tea when you're drinking it." And there were a few other things like that. It was a bit dangerous to be going over there. And but I think I still went until I fell out with them, and then I stayed more in the temple, especially later on when Srila Prabhupada arrived. I stayed in the temple more. But Guru Maharaj did try to put me off in with different ploys to stop me going to Navadvip. And I remember Bhavananda was there at the time too. He was friendly, and he said, "Why don't you stay?" In his Bhavananda way, like he says, "Why don't you stay?" I said, "Well, I'm not too sure if Krishna is God or not." And he said, "Oh, the boy's intelligent. He will stay." And off he went. So it was very friendly days. And I read in a Chitananda's book, it was Gargam. It was a Chitananda book, I think, said somewhere that in those days when he first became a sannyasi, those days everybody was like a family. In those days, the sannyasis wouldn't take all the prasadam or things like that. They'd make sure everybody got some. It was a family arrangement, and it was much more a family time in that time. Guru Maharaj always wore in summer, even in summer, he would wear thick, simple cloth. He would never wear silk or anything like that. He was wearing just simple cloth, and that went on even after he was a spiritual master for a while. And then I think Bhavananda upgraded him to silk. So, but he always lived very simply. In his room, very poorly decked out, no fancy living quarters at all, and just a few cheap pens for when he was writing, and some tatty lamps. He wasn't into making himself a fancy place to live in by any means. And even after he was spiritual master, that didn't change much at all. He still lives in a very unopulent, simple surroundings. So I then having the nice thing was, as I say, the different spiritual masters in ISKCON are attract different people. And after I left Mayapur I was asked would I stay, and I thought, well, actually, I don't really want to stay, but because I don't think I'm needed. When I was there, it was just, the place was chock-a-block with Americans. And Americans like Americans. So I sort of felt I won't ever be able to get to do anything here. So I better go back to the UK. And when Srila Prabhupada leaves, I think a lot of people will go as well. So there might be a chance for me to do something. So with that very pragmatic attitude, I'll probably get sued for all this. With that attitude, I thought, well, the point is to do some service, you know. That seemed to me the point. When I left England, you want to sort of find something spiritual. I already had Christianity. Christianity is very good, but Jesus was 2,000 years ago. And if you read any Indian history, it's filled with spiritual people coming at more recent times. You're not just one person only. And so there are spiritually enlivening people. So you need to find something better. And then when I did see Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur, I thought that this is something better. It's okay. And I did feel that this is equivalent to Christianity at least. And so I also thought that here I'm just a person from a backward village in Ireland. It's called Sligo. It's on the west coast, and it's a small town. And Ireland is a poor country. And if I'd been born any further to the west, I'd have been born as a fish. Just another couple of miles, I'd be in the Atlantic Ocean. So not all that what I say, entitled a person. And I thought, well, this is what I've got for my journey. I was thinking in Bombay, I just have to wait for Krishna to come to me. Now suddenly I've got this elevated person, Srila Prabhupada, and that's my good fortune. So you never know, is something better going to come along or not? But sometimes you've got to say, this is it. And although I said to Bhavananda, well, I don't know if Krishna is God, so how can I join? I did know that Srila Prabhupada was a spiritual person, and even from Christian viewpoint, Christianity teaches a good tree cannot bring forth bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bring forth good fruit. And you know the tree by its fruit. And the fact of the matter is, as soon as I heard that Krishna consciousness had 4 principles, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, I was able to accept it as bona fide religion. It wasn't really a problem. So it was a good thing. And so it was a decent gamble. And so I decided, okay, I'll join Krishna consciousness either when Prabhupada finishes the Srimad Bhagavatam, because I thought he might live forever. Discussing with devotees, there was no chance that he was ever going to pass away. So either he finishes the Bhagavatam or until he leaves his body. And I kept in touch with Jayapataka Maharaj throughout this period of leaving Mayapur and Srila Prabhupada leaving his body. And he said, oh, well, it's very nice if you can send some money, it will give a little extra ghee to the devotees. I was told later on that the devotees didn't have anything to eat, or to speak of any ghee. So it went towards feeding the devotees. So then Srila Prabhupada left. Srila Prabhupada left his body, and it went back to Mayapur. And Jayapataka Maharaj put me out driving the Sankirtan bus. And that was a very interesting time in Mayapur, because in Mayapur, at that time, there was a great conflict between Jayapataka Maharaj's disciples and Bhavananda's disciples. I can't speak for Jayapataka Maharaj and Bhavananda because I don't know what goes on there. But definitely there was a lot of friction. And that was something that I had to experience. And it was very interesting the way that Jayapataka Maharaj dealt with that situation, because his disciples were definitely on the losing end. Bhavananda had a great deal of funds coming in from Australia, and rightfully so, he was commandeering a leading role in all things Mayapur, and his disciples were dominant in the deity department, in the kitchen department. They're dominant in the Goshala, in agriculture, and he had his men in different places, the way Bhavananda does. And they had all the good spots. In fact, I wasn't allowed into the Lotus building at all, because that was Bhavananda's disciples' territory. Param Brahman Prabhu was in charge of that. So these were quite sort of, I mean, if I'd been upset by the assault on the dogs of Mayapur on my jeep ride into Mayapur, this was another challenge, one that I wasn't able to rise to. So that sort of conflict was going on. And Jayapataka Maharaj's disciples were more or less consigned to the ground floor of the long building. And so what happened was, how would Jayapataka Maharaj deal with this? Well, Jayapataka Maharaj said, I want all my disciples either out of Mayapur on Sankirtan or doing the 24-hour Kirtan. And that's the sort of person Jayapataka Maharaj is. A very important understanding that even in the toughest of times for people, and he was aware it was tough, he was the and what will I say is the right word? He behaves properly. And he expects his disciples to behave properly too, although they don't have to. So he behaves properly, and if his disciples don't behave properly, he will still behave properly. And that's what leadership, good leadership is. So incidentally, so that was a very good lesson. Then another good indication of how Jayapataka Maharaj would handle this conflict was when we go out on one time on the Sankirtan buses, we'd have also, he would also encourage some of Bhavananda's disciples to go out and do book distribution. And we would have some, of course, some of our top distributors would be Bhavananda's disciples. And then there was a wonderful, wonderful Maharaj. I think Prabhupada, one of Prabhupada's first Bengali disciples, Tatpur Maharaj, who was a wonderful Sankirtan leader and a great personality. So Tatpur Maharaj, he loved Bhavananda because Bhavananda is an amazing character. So he loved Bhavananda and he would be in favor of Bhavananda, but I was actually a Jayapataka Maharaj disciple. An interesting thing happened when I was approaching Jayapataka Maharaj for initiation. It was an interesting story. Is that Bhavananda came into the room. And when he came into the room, because he's Bhavananda, I started thinking, well, listen, this guy's got some charisma, and he does. He got some charisma. And Bhavananda turned to Jayapataka Swami and he said, I'll let you have this one. Interesting, eh? Very interesting. So they knew what they were about. And so where they got to? Oh, we were in the Sankirtan. We're in a Sankirtan bus going on Sankirtan with, there was Tatpur Maharaj, my good friend Radhikantha, Bhavananda's disciple, and my dear friend Sanat Kumar Prabhu, who's in Mayapur as a brahmachari at the moment, very elderly brahmachari, who's my dear friend. So they were the Bhavananda disciples in the group, and we had our Jayapataka Swami disciples, which of course included, I'm sure it included Bhakti Purushottam Swami, who was then called Jagadish Prabhu, and we had Shamananda and Narottam, and lots of other devotees were there, so you're going along the Sankirtan bus, and then they would always sing. We sing Jaya Charya Pad, and then we go Jaya Vishnu Pada, Jaya Vishnu, because that was Bhavananda's name. So they're going like this down the road saying Jaya Vishnu Pada, Jaya Vishnu Pada, Jaya Vishnu Pada. And then, Jaya Charya Pad, because that was Jayapataka Maharaj. And so I got a bit fed up with this. So what I do is whenever they would sing, Jaya Acharya Pad, I started bouncing up and down in my chair in the driver's seat. Jaya Acharya Pad. And of course, this got reported to Jayapataka Swami. In a Sankirtan meeting, it got reported by Tatpur Maharaj. And Tatpur Maharaj said, Jayapataka Maharaj, your disciple Antardwip Das is singing your name before Bhavananda's name and bouncing up and down on his seat. And Jayapataka Maharaj was there, listening to all this intently. And all the Sankirtan devotees were around, just looking at each other, what's going to happen? And he said, well, that's quite right that he does that, because you always sing the name of the junior devotee before you sing the name of the senior devotee. And everybody cheered because it was such a perfect reply. When you give your pranams, you go to your guru, then to Prabhupada, then up to Parampara. So I was, according to Jayapataka Swami, doing the right thing, and everybody was happy. Jayapataka Maharaj has said he's a junior devotee to Bhavananda, and the Jayapataka Swami disciples were happy because they knew they could sing his name first. So it was a win-all situation. What quick thinking to be able to rescue that situation. So that was Guru Maharaj's great skill. Of course, he's not in charge for the last 50 years for no good reason. He's in charge for very good reason. And that is, he never loses it. He's always on the button, always on the job. So that was very interesting behavior with Bhavananda. And out of that, after Bhavananda left, here is an amazing thing. After Bhavananda left, not one of Bhavananda's disciples had one thing bad to say about Jayapataka Maharaj. Not one. That is amazing. And that's why Guru Maharaj always has a big picture in mind. This is the big picture. And that alone is a phenomenal feat. And many of the disciples stayed around in Bengal after Bhavananda had gone and just readjusted and took part. And some of them went to other places as part of ISKCON Mayapur. And some actually drifted off a bit because they felt a bit led. Not many Bengali disciples actually drifted off. They all felt they still had shelter. And that was that. And when Bhavananda comes back, they're still very affectionate towards him. One time while I was in Mayapur, this is another indicative story of how Guru Maharaj sees himself. A lot of people, he's very much, as I say, he's doesn't have airs and graces. And one time in Panahati, I had a thing going with the wooden Gorni Thai that you see in the Bhajan Kutir. They're a little smaller Gorni Thai, and they're very beautiful. And they were donated from a gentleman in Ekchakra, and those deities were the original boat deities. And when Srila Prabhupada was here, he sent those deities out on the boat, and the first person to take them out was a New York devotee called Sudama Swami, and he took the devotees out. It's the deities on they got a boat called the Nitai Padakamala, and that boat they took the deities out up and down the Ganges. That was a truly amazing program. And you go to the villages, and you sort of realize how amazing these villages along the Ganges are. There's possibly no road going to them. Their only means of transport is the river. And you go to the villages, you go back 300-400 years in time, and the hospitality is unbelievable in this whole world. So Little Gorni Thai, that was their mark. They went up and down the Ganges, meeting all these wonderful villagers, and they're now in the Bhajan Kutir. But they went to, one time they were in Panahati for the festival, and they were being carried from the Ganges, the boat, up to the stage where the festival was taking place. And I was on the stage filling in, just blabbering, and suddenly I saw Gorni Thai, and I was just so relieved, like it would be now if somebody would come in and start talking and take over. I was so relieved to see Gorni Thai coming that I started jumping up and down and saying, "There's Gorni Thai, there's Gorni Thai coming." And instead of looking around, all the villagers started turning around and looking at me, at this crazy fellow jumping up and down on stage and shouting at them to turn around. They weren't at all interested in what I wanted them to do. I was just such a spectacle. And then Gorni Thai were coming up the hill, and they were being carried by 4 people. And I was going crazy for Gorni Thai. Why is nobody paying attention to Gorni Thai? And there was Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj actually was carrying Gornitai, one of the poles. There were 4 poles. He was carrying one of the poles, and he actually ducked. And I realized he was ducking because he didn't want to get in the way of me and Gornitai. It was clear as a bell. So he wasn't thinking, I'm jumping up and down, my guru's coming, my guru's coming, Jayapataka Maharaj is coming. He wasn't thinking not that at all. He was just thinking, oh, I mustn't get in the way of Gornitai. And that was an immediate reaction. He didn't even think about it. I could see there was no thought process going on. It was just straight. I had another experience like that, where if Guru Maharaj had a hint of, even a hint of desire for worship, it would have shown up. And this is the worship is given for the benefit of the worshipper, and his job is to take that in his role in the parampara. So, and if you want someone who's transparent in that respect, Jayapataka Maharaj is the person. And we've got, of course, many other wonderful ones in ISKCON. Let's not deny that. But here's one that was really interesting. One time I had, at the moment I've got a white bead bag, but after I left Mayapur, because of I wasn't able to deal with the goings on really. Now I can deal with anything, because at that time I was thinking, oh, Krishna's left ISKCON. It's out of control. Nothing's going to get rid of this nonsense. It's all over. What a shame. And I don't see anything ever resolving this issue. So then I went back to the UK and still chanted my rounds in that, and feeling a great sense of failure, because I'd been there about 4 years. I'd left everything. I tried to do my bit, and I felt a great sense of failure there. And so I stayed there. Within 3 or 4 months, all the house of cards had fallen down, and it had got sorted out. So that was a lesson to me, that actually Krishna's never going to leave ISKCON, and that he does things according to his time scale, not ours. And so from even no matter what happens now, and things have been happening, I realize it's just temporary. And I won't make the same mistake again. I let myself down badly. So that was my mistake. So we got over to England, and I had a very nice experience of Guru Maharaj there. Is that, as I say, I've got this a plain bead bag. In those days, I had an embroidered one with Jayapataka Maharaj's face on it, a Jayapataka Maharaj bead bag. And I was at a program with him, and because I was a little bit sort of into things, I had this big T-shirt, and there's a T-shirt company called Boss, B-O-S-S, and you put their brand on the front of your T-shirt. So I on my T-shirt, I had a big B-O-S-S on my yellow T-shirt in black writing. So it was very big, and it was not really at all devotional, having something called Boss written on your T-shirt. So anyway, I was wearing this big, very visible, very obvious T-shirt called Boss, and Guru Maharaj was trying to preach to people, but of course it was not thoughtful of me, because he's trying to present him. He's trying to preach to people, and here I am, a disciple, with Boss written on my T-shirt. So it wasn't a cool move. And in any case, he said to me that, and this is very important. He said to me, "Why are you walking around advertising things?" And I thought for a minute. I thought, "What am I advertising?" And then I thought, "Oh, he means my bead bag, advertising him." So then I said, "Oh, this, yeah, I don't know why I bother with this." And then I put it away. And he immediately burst out laughing, because he was meaning my T-shirt, which said boss on it, and not the bead bag, which had his name on it. But immediately I couldn't work out it was boss he was talking about. So because I thought it was the bead bag, and he was instant. He just thought this was very funny. And he didn't share the joke with me. Only later did I get it. Oh, he meant my T-shirt. And as I say, he's not interested in approval or glorification. He's Krishnanandai. He's happy in himself, but for the purpose of being a spiritual master, then he accepts it and expects it because it's good for the disciple, and it's the way disciple makes progress. But he himself was not at all taken back that I said, well, what would you know? I said, this thing. Oh, I'm not going to bother doing that anymore. and we took it in stride. So that was Guru Maharaj. Now I had I then spent some time in America, and then I came back to the UK, and I settled down in the UK, and I had a lot of interactions with Guru Maharaj. I did. He was pleased I was doing a magazine. I started a magazine for devotees who were having sort of, at that time, Bhagavan had recently left when I came back to the UK. He'd recently left, and there were quite a lot of devotees sort of who he had, Prabhupada disciples who he had sort of put a little bit, put out of the place. And they were quite upset and not wanting to come back. And then there were his own disciples who had been through quite a lot with Jayatirtha, and then to lose him. So he started a magazine called Vaishnava Connection. And Chudamani, is she here somewhere? Chudamani will remember this.
Is here.
She's there somewhere. Where's everyone coming from? Okay. I thought there were only 4 people watching. Oh dear. Okay.
We have 52 of us watching, Prabhu.
Okay. So we got Vaishnava Connection. We started this magazine, and Guru Maharaj liked it. This is the first time I was doing anything not in his service. When I'd been in India, when I'd been in America, I'd always been engaged in his area, in his service. And Srila Prabhupada once said, if you aren't preaching, you should have 2 disciples, one for making the chapatis, one for making chapatis, and one for cooking them. One for rolling them, one for cooking them. 2 disciples maximum. But if you're preaching, there's no limit to the amount of disciples you can have. So Guru Maharaj definitely wanted to have disciples because Prabhupada had given him such a big charter to fulfill. So many instructions that it's impossible to fulfill. So he had a great need for disciples. So we got, even though I was in the UK, not working in his area, still I was trying to bring devotees together. And he liked that. He never said anything. And Guru Maharaj doesn't say anything. Guru Maharaj is very quiet. But there's one time he was wondering, had I stopped it? And that's when you realize that, oh, he did care. Because he won't tell you, oh, you're doing it, keep doing it, it's really important. He'll leave you with it. But if you stop it, then he'll say, oh, what happened? Because it was really good. For some reason, it's not his job to go out there and praise what people are doing. But it's appreciated. So this wasn't even for him. It was for devotees, wasn't in his zone, it was somebody else's zone. But the idea was to try to bring devotees together. And Guru Maharaj has always been a person for everybody, for every temple. He's never sort of limited himself. I remember there was one Mataji when she's Leela Shakti, who now lives in the island, in Ishrath Island. So she was telling me that when Harikesh Maharaj left, she was upset. And he said, he said, what's the matter? He spotted there was something wrong. And he does this with devotees quietly. He said, what's the matter? And she said, she just burst into tears. So he opened his arms round. He never met her before and just gave her a big hug as long as she wanted. And then she was okay. So he's a devotee for everyone, and helping other devotees, it doesn't matter who their spiritual master is. It's all very good. It's all a very good service. And Vaishnava Connection developed into, when things went online, Vaishnava Connection went online as well. And then one day, I got the opportunity to, London were the first people to go online, and then Bhaktivedanta Manor and a few others. And we got the opportunity to go to Mayapur. And I met Guru Maharaj at the airport, and I'm not sure this was at this stage or later on. I think it was probably a bit later on, when I said, Guru Maharaj, what are the, how will I fund Mayapur TV when it gets going? And I didn't know what the situation was in Mayapur. And he explained to me that when Harikesh Maharaj was there, he established every division to be self-funding in Mayapur, that there is no central funding for any preaching activity, which meant that everybody has to run their own show. And he said, at that time, he said, listen, I was lost. I was thinking, how is this going to happen? And he said, I can give you 5,000 rupees a month. And then he saw my face go even lower. And he said, I'm really sorry, I can't give you any more, but I can give you that. And it was very, very nice. And that's since must have been 2008. Since 2008, when we first started in Mayapur, maybe a year later, since 2008, he's been giving 5,000 rupees a month into the Mayapur TV account, which was my first donation, having never ever thought I'd have to fundraise in India before. And that was very good of him. And the way he said, and this is again, it's the same thing that when Gornitai were coming up the hill and he ducked instantly to, in case he got in the way of Gornitai and myself. The other time when I was wearing the Boss t-shirt, and I sort of insulted him, thinking he said, why am I advertising him? And he just laughed. And this one is another thing. Some people are just genuinely nice people. And he could say, oh, it's the most I can give. I'm sorry, but I can't give you any more. But he's also tried to help in many different ways. Another way he tried to help me in Mayapur was he went totally over everybody's head. And knowing that I don't work very well with someone telling me what to do, he made me a division head. Now, a division head in Mayapur is like a temple president in the West. They usually have properties, a lot of devotees, and a big portfolio of activities under the belt. And then therefore they're called a division head. And if you're not a division head in Mayapur, you'll be a department head. And the department head has got a division head who tells him what to do. So he didn't want me to be in that position. So he said, you should be a division head. So I said, okay, not knowing really what it was or what it implied. So that way it was a big help for him, which was a practice which doesn't happen to anyone else. But he wanted to give me a free hand to try to develop the broadcasting, knowing the difficulty I have working with committees above me are like that. So that was a very good move of him that has proved to be the reason Mayapur TV has been able to continue in Mayapur. And being a division head has removed me from any politics and given me just the free air where I was able to actually do things. So that was another amazing way that he helped in Mayapur. And also when people wanted to, when I go away to the West for a little while and people would turn up in his door knocking, knock, 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 where's the thing? Knock, knock, knock. Maharaj, I think I should run Mayapur TV because Antardwip's away and I think we've got a great team could do it. Guru Maharaj would sort of quietly deal with that while I wasn't there and keep it going. So I've got a video with me now, but Guru Maharaj never said much to me about Mayapur TV. That's the way it goes. And I'm sure everybody's got similar stories. You just do your best for a spiritual master. I don't, and only when you, it reminds me a little bit of when Srila Prabhupada went to see Buri John and his wife, his name I can't remember, when they were in Hong Kong. So Srila Prabhupada went to Hong Kong and he visited them and they were preaching there and he saw their deities and bowed down to the altar, and it was just a homemade, they had a homemade altar and all that. And then he went away. Then Buri John and his wife, they spruced up the place, they got more people in, and they got a nice new altar and all that stuff. So the brother came back and he said, he looked at it, he was there for a while, and he said, "Oh, what did you do to the old altar?" And they said, "Oh, but it was so old, Maharaj, and we decided we want to get a new one. We sold Srila Prabhupada and we decided to get a new one." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Oh, but the old one had bits of flowers on it and there. It was very devotional." So you don't find out until you do the wrong thing that you were doing the right thing. So it's one of the, it makes it difficulty. So I've got a good video here of Guru Maharaj sort of, it was a fundraiser we were having because I haven't even got to Mayapur TV yet, but there was a fundraiser going on because we were at a crucial stage of trying to create a channel in for West Bengal in Bengali with the temple program at the center. And to do a channel, proper TV channel, you need to have better presentation, not just sort of show the temple and let it run. You have to introduce things. You have to have a schedule going on when the temple's closed. You have to make it interesting as much of the time as you can. So we're working on that. And to do that, we needed a second studio to be built. So as part of that, that was just, we started that, I think it was October-ish, we started that. And the whole thing is getting slowly built. The program was, we wanted Guru Maharaj to help us with some fundraising. And so if possible, I can share the screen and show you a video of Guru Maharaj talking about Mayapur TV in the most extravagant way possible. I think he says at one point, he couldn't live without Mayapur TV. So, so Guru Maharaj is doing everything he can to be supportive to all devotees. He's, and of course, unfortunately, I'm not so good at fundraising, so I'm not taking advantage of it. But I can show you the video now. It's very nice. We're nearly at, oh no, we're at 50 minutes. I think you said 40 minutes.
I know, Prabhu, you can.
Okay.
You are a co-host, Prabhu, so you can share. You are a co-host, so you can share your screen and you can.
Oh, I can share the screen now. Okay.
Yes.
Let me just try and find the video. Where do we go to? Okay. I'm just looking at here.
So the volume on the audio input is up on your Zoom audio input. Make sure that volume is up.
Okay. Where's my Zoom? Oh, okay. Mute. Audio settings. Oh yeah. Okay.
Let's try.
Oh wait, I shouldn't have it on auto. Not on auto. I'll have it up high.
Sorry.
Now we're okay.
What we'll do?
Oh wait a minute. That's the video playing. I thought that was someone talking to me.
This out. Just maybe
okay.
If we have a quick.
Okay.
We are unable to see that.
I know it's coming. Hold on.
If they're there, while we just resolve the issue. This would be great. I think.
So screen.
This is important.
Oh. And we are.
No.
I'm looking at Uttama.
Acha. I hope you can see. This was the.
Prabhu, we can see now, but cannot hear.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, when you're sharing, you may want to check the share sound.
Hare Krishna.
Jai, we can hear you now. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me in?
Thank you. Thank you,
online.
Mayapur TV crew. We had some kirtan, and now over to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj.
Can you hear?
Yes, can hear now.
Oh,
Oh, good. Good.
Hare Krishna.
yes, much better. Hare Krishna.
I saw the know that Prabhupada, he said utility is the principle.
So we know that Prabhupada has said utility is the principle.
So he should use everything in the service of Krishna.
So we should use everything in the service of Krishna.
Actually, Prabhupada asked us, the Europeans, Americans, we should do something wonderful.
So actually Prabhupada asked us, no European, American, we should actually do something wonderful.
Anyway, now the Indians are also pandemic. I've been in my rooms,
So actually since the pandemic, I've been in my rooms.
but I spend hours every day on watching a different media.
I spend almost every day watching the different videos.
I wake up, see the live or TV,
I wake up seeing the Mayapur TV,
see the Mangalarti,
see the Mangalarati
Mayapur,
in Mayapur,
Panchatattva, Maharaja,
Panchatattva, Radha Madhav, and the Mayapur Chandra.
Maharaja, Astasaki,
Radha Madhav, Astasaki,
Arshanadev,
Narasimhadev,
Bhaktapalad,
Bhakta Prahlad,
and Tulsi Puja Song.
and Tulsi Puja and Gauri. So on.
Sometimes I'm very fortunate to see the Prabhupada pushes right,
Sometimes I'm very fortunate to see the Prabhupada Pushpa Samadhi.
but other times I may go to Vrindavan and see the Vrindavan Puja.
And other times I may go to Vrindavan and see the Vrindavan Puja.
So Mayapur TV is part of my life.
So Mayapur TV is a part of my life.
I say I don't know how I would exist
Actually, I don't know how I'm going to exist
without it.
without it.
And I said, well, I said, maybe they take it for granted.
So, as Sri Vallabha Prabhu said, everybody took it for granted.
But actually, it's a very important part of our life.
Actually, he said it's a very important part of our life.
Since in Mayapur, we have around 7,000 devotees,
Since in Mayapur, we have about 7,000 devotees.
but we used to have 5,000 at least attending Mangalarti.
We used to have at least 5,000 at least attending Mangalarati.
And now, government has made restrictions.
But now the government has made restrictions.
We have to keep social distancing,
We have to keep social distancing,
and we can only have a certain amount of people in the temple.
And we can only have certain amount of people in the temple.
So we tell everybody to watch.
Mm.
And we know that for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness,
Because we know that we are the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
and now much as we can help people to be Krishna conscious,
Now, as much as we can, we should help people to be Krishna conscious.
to think of Krishna
To think
all
of,
the time.
to think of Krishna all the time.
Of this initiative, Mayapur DB wants to do to extend the broadcast
So this initiative that Mayapur TV wants to do to expand their broadcast,
now we very promotes Prabhupada very much.
that will promote Srila Prabhupada very much.
Actually, this year is the 125 anniversary of Srila Prabhupada.
Actually, this year is the 125 anniversary of Srila Prabhupada.
This is a very good year to extend the initiative.
So this is a very good year to expand the initiative.
I'm very appreciative of all the work of the Mayapur DB.
So I'm very appreciative of all the work of the Mayapur TV.
I try to put this video on my app and on the on various social media.
I try to put this video on my app and various social medias.
And already some Ramadan sent me 1 lakh of rupees
Already Saturday Mother is sending me 1 lakh of rupees
to give for the Mayapur DB.
to give for the Mayapur TV,
Not to I get everyone.
apart from what I give every month.
So we like to make this part of everybody's life,
So we try to make this a part of everybody's life.
to see Krishna and his various leelas around the world.
To see Krishna in his various leelas around the world.
Sometimes, one morning I can see DVDs on Bible DB
So in one morning I can see the deities in Mayapur TV,
and Vrindavan and Bamboo
in Vrindavan, in Bombay Juhu,
and the Bhakti Radhavana
in the Bhaktivedanta Manor,
and the Los Angeles,
in Los Angeles,
various temples.
and in various temples.
I think the service that the Bible TV is doing
I think that the service that Mayapur TV is doing
on the other.
one, unparalleled, is unparalleled.
Okay, stop share. Okay, that's it. Okay, we'll see how, where's my audio settings? My phone profile. Okay, can you hear me now? I think
Yes,
so.
Prabhu.
Oh, great. Okay, that was just, that is an example of sort of Guru's doing his job, because he knows he has to. He is supporting wholeheartedly fundraising in that video. I noticed the same thing with Bhakti Churuswami and other leaders, that they actually realize that because of who they are, they can bring funds into ISKCON for different ISKCON projects. And I remember seeing Bhakti Churuswami come into Leicester one time, and they just gave him the microphone, and he had to fundraise. And he just did it wholeheartedly without reservation. This temple is so important. You must fundraise. You must donate to this temple. And that's the one thing about being a sannyasi or a leader in ISKCON. You just you support what's going on. And so Guru Maharaj was just trying to support what Mayapur TV is doing and help raise funds. So that is, as I say, Guru Maharaj has been supportive in so many ways, supportive in giving funds himself, very supportive in making sure I was a division head. And also now when we need to raise funds, I've never heard anyone support anything quite so wholeheartedly as that. But don't worry, we have to think of ways to raise funds, because it's we're very slow at doing it. So we don't have time for Mayapur TV today. So I'd just like to go and say a last thing. Chudamani wrote a message. Guru Maharaj occasionally sends us text messages about the broadcast. And one text message was, he says, can you stop showing the audience when the Panchatattva mantra is being sung? Because that's when I'm offering my prayers to the Panchatattva. So now we try to, when we're showing the Panchatattva deities, we try to just show the deities. And we're thinking also, it does help us structure the thing. We're thinking of putting a message up when the Panchatattva mantra is being sung, just for everybody in different languages, saying, please offer your prayers to the Panchatattva now. In the next, and then have a countdown thing going on, how long we'll be showing the Panchatattva deities and things like that. And also he notices in the kirtan, he sent a message saying, try to get the Matajis, the Russian Matajis stands very beautifully. Can't you try and encourage the Matajis and somehow or other train them in the sort of dances that they, so that they can dance nicer for the deities and things like that. So he was, he does get involved day to day in the broadcast. So I was very happy to finish on a very nice note, showing Guru Maharaj. It's amazing how he stays always enthusiastic, and he is totally committed to Srila Prabhupada's service, no matter what. Doesn't matter whatever would happen to whatever would happen. He'll remain committed to trying to fulfill the things Srila Prabhupada gave him to fulfill. The TOVP, whether it's book distribution, whether it's making a large number of disciples, whatever it is, he's never gets discouraged. And he maintains himself in a always very personable, always personal to everybody, and always never departs from being a good gentleman at all times. So, so I hope I've contributed a little bit to people's appreciation and depth of appreciation for Guru Maharaj. And it's very nice to be with you all. Oh, so I'll give back to Nadi Jagannath Prabhu now. Okay.
It's so sweet, Prabhu. So wonderful pastimes, and taking us, some of us have only read little, but then today you took us to those early days. Very inspiring. I think Vishal Gauranga Prabhu writes it, and he writes that we wish to hear from you more and more and more. So he writes that. So yeah, I think he echoes. If I can ask one question, Prabhu. Yeah, one more session he asked. Can I ask a question? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So all good pastimes we heard. Is there any pastime of yours with Guru Maharaj where he chastised you? If you can share with us. We just want to understand that facet of it in case you would.
Yeah, he was always very clear. He knows that I can't take chastisement. He once told me, he once said, I actually walked out of my service in America in his temples to come back to the UK. And he sort of said to me, he said, you know, if I'd known you were going, I'd have stopped you. And that's all he said. I didn't say, I knew you would, so that's why I didn't tell you. I didn't say that. But he would, no, he never. Some people get that special mercy. Did you ever tell me off? No, no, no. I remember Shyama saying the same thing. Shyama said Prabhupada used to tear Tamal Krishna Maharaj to bits, and other disciples he would tear to bits. And Shyama used to think, wow, if Prabhupada treated me like that, I'd never be able to handle it. And Prabhupada never treated him like that. So I think Guru Maharaj is the same. He sort of knows what the disciples are like, what they're able to handle.
Sweet answer of you, Prabhu. I saw Amala Manjari Mataji raising her hand. Mataji, did you want to ask something to Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah, because I wanted to say that once I had this fortune of seeing Antardwip Prabhu speaking to Guru Maharaj, and he had another devotee coming, and they were discussing, like, they had to speak something to Guru Maharaj, but when Guru Maharaj was taking prasadam, Antardwip Prabhu interviewed that devotee, asked all the questions which Guru Maharaj would have asked. And Guru Maharaj just had prasadam, and by the time Guru Maharaj finished prasadam, all questions were answered. So, Antardwip Prabhu is more like a first-class disciple, so no chastisement like that. He always did ahead of what Guru Maharaj wanted. That's amazing.
Sure, that was me.
Yes, Prabhu, in Hilton.
500%.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hilton.
Yes.
It was in Birmingham.
Okay.
Hilton. That devotee, with Ramanuja Prabhu.
Ramanuja Prabhu.
Oh, Ramanuja Prabhu. Oh, yeah.
And then you wanted to speak about the television. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Many instances.
Yeah,
like
thank you, Amala Manjari Mataji,
Thank you,
for
Mataji.
correcting me. Okay, devotees, any other question for Prabhu?
We need more sessions, Prabhu.
I've answered everybody's questions. Thank you very much, Fuji. That was really nice for you to have me on.
Because it has been so much.
Thank you so much.
More. Thank you so much, Anadi Prabhu, because I have tried so much to get these nectars from Antardwip Prabhu, and we have to get it like one drop by drop, but now much we could get, but there's so much more. So much more.
We need more and more. So I think you all are the closest there. So you all should reach out to him, and then maybe Vishal Prabhu should push for more, and then we can get some more session.
He is there in Mayapur. He is not here in.
I'm in UK at the moment.
Oh, I will come back. Well done, Prabhu. I think
my speakers are giving problems. I think I can't. I'm having difficulty getting my speakers to work.
great.
We can hear you.
We better call it quits. I can't get my speakers are playing up.
We are not speaking now, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
On behalf of JSSS of ISKCON Seshadipuram, we thank you so much for this wonderful pastime and bringing us closer to Guru Maharaj. And I hope, like you said, we all can get some of the gentlemanly qualities of Guru Maharaj. Always a gentleman, like you said. That I take that home today.
Okay.
So thank you again, Prabhu. And you all, our senior godbrothers, you all are also wonderful, teaching us how we should be wonderful disciple and please Guru Maharaj. Thank you again. Thank you for Mayapur TV. Actually, the pandemic was some time when Mayapur TV was the solace. So, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna. Hare
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitani pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
Namo Namaha.
Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Antardwip ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, God brothers and God sisters.
Thank you so much. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Devotees, thank you. We have so many of you seniors out here, senior God brothers, God sisters. Please do join us whenever you all have time. Same time, every Thursday. Throwback Thursday. Hare Krishna, Prabhu and
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Vishal Prabhu. Hare Bol.
Thank you so much,
Hare Bol.
Thank you.
Anadipur
Prabhu, Dandar
Jagannath
Pranam,
Das
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Bol.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.